The next item on the agenda is dealing with electrical continuity at point blades. In particular, I need to look at that one. I'll explain. So on this layout, power is fed basically 2 points. One's at this end somewhere, and again at that end. So at the ends, we're down to 2 tracks on what I would call the main line, the up and the down line. And then around the station area, you've got 4 platform faces that those 2 tracks can lead into. So it splits into 2 basically, there and there. And apart from, no, there and there. And apart from a switch I've put in for DCC operation, that means that if the track feed is back here, then the points control which of the lines has got power to it. And you've got to set the points at both ends, at this end and at the other end. Similarly with the fiddle yard. There are 3 roads in the fiddle yard. Just move that for a moment. You can see them sort of labelled. This is line 3. That's line 2, as it were. That's line 1 up there. And the power to which of these lines, or however the lines are powered, is determined by the position of the points at the ends. Now, the other thing is there's a section break here. So power comes to here from that end, and power comes all the way around, all the way through to here from this other end. There is a continuity over the gap. Yeah, I've got a wire that runs around to maintain continuity across there. Right, now, so when there's no continuity through that point blade, the only power we've got coming through is from the point at that end, and it's obviously working because I've got continuity all the way up to here. So this section here is dead, and so I need to attend to that point blade. Fortunately, the extra cameo little thing I've put in there to display a few die-cast vehicles doesn't stop me getting into the corner. I can still get to that point. I can still lean over and attend to that point. I've not put switches onto these point motors. They're surface mounted point motors because this is moving into the fiddle yard non-scenic area basically, although I do keep putting a bit of scenery up there. So I guess I could mount them on switch basis and use the switch to control the flow of the electricity going into the points. This is the other end. 4 point motors. I've put a little building over one of them. And I need to, clearly I need to go through and check each one of those. I've not done a full diagnostics. But this dropped board, scenic board, does restrict my movement. I can reach over to that just about to clean it, but I can't get into that corner very well now. That corner is rather out of reach because I've put this extra board in here. No problem with this other corner. One other thing, if I go back here. Oh yeah, cut a bit of foam, thought, yeah, let's do something here. What am I going to do? And I thought, let's do some card modelling. Cut some card. So the base here is actually cardboard. And when I've used cardboard in the past, I found that if you soak it in PVA, it makes it into quite a strong material. But I'm getting delamination of the card here, on this road, over that bridge there, and sagging here. Look at those cylinders, because that was a little bit I bought to add to this diorama. That's because the cardboard has warped. Moral of that tale, don't use card as a base for anything. Use something like plywood, thin ply, or even hardboard, as I've used on that front edge. That may still well warp, but it's going to be a bit more durable than that card or cardboard. Yeah, switch it to forwards. And as it reaches that point, it stops. And then, if I leave the power on, remove my barricade, pull it through the point. Of course, it waits until it gets over this gap, at which point it picks up the power from the opposite end. Well, these are the tools. This is a dental pick, which you can use to just scratch the side of rails. That's a needle file, screwdriver with a square blade, and some nippers. What the nippers? The nippers are for the fish plates or rail joiners. And on this point, there are two things. One was presumably that, and the lack of good contact between the switchblade and the rail, but also that fish plate there was failing. What I find is that 50% of the time when I try and close up a fish plate to get a better connection, I slide it about a bit, because sliding it about is kind of scratching it through the corrosion to try and make good contact. Sometimes that's enough, but nipping it up caused the fish plate to fail. Don't know if there's fatigue in the metal, but anyway, it failed, and I've had to fiddle about to get a new fish plate on. So replacing fish plates. Remember, this is quite a few years, and now it would appear that not quite right yet. Something there. I don't think that's it might be just dirty track. Might need a bit more cleaning. But I'm getting continuity through here now, otherwise that wouldn't be moving at that point. So we're getting continuity through the point blade, which is the thing that I'm after. However, there are a lot of other points, and I think I'm going to have to go through and just check that there's good contact and clean up these point blades, particularly as I have sectioning. For this DC layout, I section each part where I might want to park a loco by using the point blades. So what you will see is there's a loco there, parked, well, not very well parked, and that is powered from the same controller as this one. But because I've switched the rails to a different line through the station, that one is stopped and this one is able to run. But if I change the points here, then when I turn the power on, it's the other loco that moves. Yes? If I just change one of the points, of course you'll get the power feeding. You have to remember to change both points. So one letdown of this, if I change just that one point, then you get both moving. One's being fed from one end, one's being fed from the other end. So you have to change both points. There we go. So the pros and cons of using your point blades to section the track and switch between alternatives.